Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. Today is 1 Ounce Wednesday. On 1 Ounce Wednesday, I pour a blind sample in a glass and I blind review its ass. You might be noticing things are a bit spooky around here. That's because it's Halloween time. So if you don't like this Halloween themed content through the month of October, then I'm sorry. Just tell me in the comments below and maybe I'll stop and go back to normal. Which isn't even really that normal, honestly. Instead of heaving my giant 1 Ounce Wednesday box full of samples up on top of that barrel and making a ruckus and possibly dropping it or re-tearing my bicep tendon, I just grabbed one out of the box and poured it in a glass and hid the sample bottle without looking. The percentage of viewers who believe that I didn't look will directly correlate to the following review and how accurately I describe this whiskey, or inaccurately. Okay, let's get down to the business of getting down. By the way, huge shout out to my Patreon community who supplied me with so many spooky samples for the 1 Ounce Wednesday box. I love you. Before we get into this tasting, a huge thank you is owed to you because the last video hit our like goal, 900 likes. Because of that, I'm gonna venture out and drink whiskey on Doc Holliday's grave. I'll also record it and make a video about it. Giving this whiskey a bit of a swirl job, the color on it may or may not be extra dark depending on the effect the lighting in this garage is having on the whiskey in the glass, but it looks very dark. Dark like my tendencies after midnight, if you know what I mean. There's a really good show on one of those subscription things that I get, one of the several subscription services that I overpay for every single month. It's called something like, What Do We Do in the Darkness? Or To Do What in the Darkness? Or In the Darkness We Do What? What is the name of the comedic vampire show that's streaming on a streaming service currently? What We Do in the Shadows. That's what it's called. I was way off. And it's available on Hulu. If you're looking for something to binge watch other than ADHD Whiskey this October, What We Do in the Shadows, when you first start it, you're gonna be like, what is this? But then you're gonna be like, yes! Now that I've given you a tremendous recommendation, let me nose this whiskey to see if I can give you a tremendous recommendation. This is a high malt product, or possibly a craft rye. Kind of like double-barreled crafty rye, or like a heavy malted whiskey, possibly. Yeah. A lot of citrus on it. Some heavy orange, like Gojo hand cleaner. Reminds me of my dad a little bit. There are some chocolatey notes that are arriving nicely. Quite a bit of rubber, like a rubbery shoe. Like you left a Reebok pump on the dashboard of your automobile. Las Vegas summertime. Get back in the car and you're like, oh, it smells like butt in here. But also smells like that shoe. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've never even used this nosing or tasting note before, but this thing is as close as I've ever smelled to a prophylactic condom. Weird and interesting and suddenly less appealing. I don't need anything getting between me and the flavor, if you know what I mean. Contraceptive joke. Let's go in for a sip on this 1 Ounce Wednesday. High proof, and it's a knuckleball. That's a knuckleball of a pour. Oh man, it did waves of different things. It got cola-y for a second, and I kind of liked it. Then it got funky and bitter, and like did this citrusy twang. If that citrus was also mixed with molasses in a gym locker. It's like sticky, oh boy. A little bit of rotting fruit, and then the malt characteristic on the nose comes through on the finish and kind of leaves you with this like tingling, bitter, regretful finish that you're like, huh, do I drink that again? Absolutely, because what in the heck was that? Oh. 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 It really puckers you up. Not in a great way. Puckers you up in an unpleasurable way. Puckers you up like a plunger in the butt, and not the end you'd want. For somebody who absolutely loves whiskey, there are some, and by some I mean quite a few, that I just don't love. And those are, I'm gonna say that it's a craft whiskey of some sort. It's coming from some craft distillery, and it's either some like malted rye or possibly even an American single malt or something. I understand that it's high powered and complex. I understand that it's got character. I understand that it's quirky and weird, but there's something about it I just don't like. That's all of it. I really am having a hard time finding anything about that I love. I'm gonna say this gets a score of 5.3. Not my jam. Realistically, something being not my jam doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Unless, of course, you enjoy the same things I enjoy and love the same things I love, dislike the things I dislike. If you agree with me in the whiskey tasting realm of tasting whiskey, then this is not for us. But if you have a high-powered, double-oaked, molassesy, grass-ass malted Trojan condom, then maybe this is what you want in your mouth. But unfortunately, this pour is not for me, and that is why it received a 5.3. Sometimes I make funny faces when I love stuff, and other times I make funny faces when I don't love stuff. Time to take this sample out to the graveyard and bury it. Today, on 1 Ounce Wednesday, we were drinking ASW Fiddler Syncopation Bourbon, 143 proof. Yeah, very high proof. Syncopation. I actually think I might be in the minority here. I think that I've read and heard, and by read I mean read people typing it in chat and stuff like that, that this is something that people enjoy. To the provider of this sample, thank you very much. I'm glad I got to try it. Now I know that the syncopation is not for me, but I definitely appreciate the sample, and I know a lot of you out there will love it. That's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Leave a comment down below. Do you go to adult Halloween parties? Do you do costume contests at bars and stuff like that? Am I total weak sauce for only worrying about my kids during Halloween and what they're doing? Should I have more fun and dress up like one of the Baywatch dudes? Am I lame? Am I the only one not doing this? My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on getting your pumpkins soon. You gotta get your pumpkins soon to carve them. Because if you don't get your pumpkins soon and carve your pumpkins for Halloween, then it's gonna be too late. And then all the pumpkins are gonna be like soggy and like dead and yucky and mushy and gross. And also it's not gonna be Halloween time anymore, and your kids are gonna go another year without carving pumpkins, and then you'll have to apologize and be like, I'll make up for it next year, which you tried to do this year but forgot to get the pumpkins last time you were at the store, which is your fault. Definitely not something I would ever do. But if you're out there thinking about pumpkins and carving and jack-o'-lanterns, or I almost said jack-off-lanterns, which isn't a thing, but also will probably get edited out. Sometimes you just gotta throw some pumpkins in the back seat of the car, get home, draw some faces on them with marker, and then give your kids knives. Let them go to town. As long as that visit to town isn't to the ER, in which case maybe leave the pumpkins at the store. Till next year. Good night.